David and housekeeping Allison Death.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I am Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. Welcome, guys. And we have two special guests for our episode tonight. We have multiple-time world champions and Team Demo coaches and captains, Team Forms champions, Dave Moss and Mike Welch. Welcome, guys. Thank you all so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
Hand clap to you, gentlemen.
Yes, it's going to be a great show tonight. Make sure you guys, when you guys join on, start sharing the show. But we want to first start out with sharing about one of our sponsors, and that is the K-Talk Nationals in New York City. That is going to be November 24th, right in the heart of New York City. A great location, a great place. This is really one of the last big events of the year, besides Toronto. And, you know, K-Talk has supported the sport very heavily for so long, putting in a great team. So, you know, going all over the nation and helping judge and just so many things. So make sure you guys go and support K-Talk and the Diaz's. Alex, you got something to say about that?
Yeah, and Jeff, tell me no if you were like, no, let's save it for later. Is it all right if we do it like the what's your take now?
Sure, if you want to do that.
Not sponsoring it, like we could do that. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm not saying anything everybody else doesn't already know. I mean, the Diaz's, they're a gem, you know, and Sue is exactly what you said. She's still heavily involved. She still heavily supports most every tournament. And I don't know that there's anything that either one of them don't support, but you see him around all the time. Yes. And Rick is that lovable Cuban mafia boss that you see that you just love. You're like, I know that guy. I know he has $24,000 worth of jewelry on, but I know that guy. All right. So yeah, they're gonna host a fun event. It's a biggest event in the city, right? Or in the state?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a big deal. If it's in your state, I don't care what the event is. If there's a biggest event in your city, state, you should really be there, right? And I say that about really anywhere, especially here, because if we're here, it would be the AKA Warrior Cup, and I just kind of tell people like this is a no-brainer. Like you don't have to get on an airplane to go anywhere.
Right.
Some of the biggest competitors, best competitors in the world are going to be here, and you're just not going to go. Like look at what they have to do to get there, and you got too many things to do that Saturday. What's wrong with you? Reschedule, right? So that's kind of what I feel about any event. But I got what's your take? You know,
right.
Not exactly martial art karate tournament. Well, actually, it is karate tournament related. So check this out. So this happened to me. Okay.
Oh God.
David, Mike, I want to know your guys' take on this too. So what's your take on karate martial arts memorabilia? So a couple weeks ago, I take the kids. We go to Minnesota and we do all the touristy things. So what's the first thing I did, Jeff?
Touristy things? What, Mall of America?
Bingo. It's not like there's 11 things that you're going to do, right? But that's definitely number one on the list, right? So we go there and there's enough things to do there that you're like, I'm exhausted for the week, okay? So they have an underwater world, right? So you go, just like literally there's 7 layers of the mall. Oh, and by the way, there's like a massive like underwater world underneath this entire mall.
Okay.
Bonkers. So you go on the way down there, they have like these silent auction things. And I won. It's the photo everybody knows about from the movie Karate Kid. right?
Oh wow.
When he's doing the crane in the final move, right? He's there, boom, right? You got Johnny in that badass fighting stance with no sleeves, and Ralph Macchio signed it. And there's like a Miyagi-Do like patch, and it's all enclosed. First of all, 2 questions. Number 1, what would you bid on that? What would you bid? I'm not even going to tell you what the starting bid was, but what would you bid?
It's a silent auction. Or can
And
you see what
thing
the last guy bid?
was the first one.
You were the first one.
You were the first one to bid?
Blank. So that I was the only one to do it.
I'd start at like a couple $100. Why not?
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, David? What would you do?
Yeah, same probably.
Yeah.
What would you do, Alex?
Was what I did. 150.
150. All right.
And I didn't, and then when I'm writing it down, because when you're the first one, you're like, it doesn't matter. Whatever you put, you're gonna get outbid.
Right.
Yes.
Unless it's a scenario where I ran into where nobody else would even bid.
Wow.
I couldn't even believe it, right? Because if you see 150, don't you immediately, if you see it and you're like, well, I'll put 155, right? Why not?
Yeah.
So now I got this thing that I'm like, clearly I got a value on this. What the heck do I do with it? Right? So I've been thinking like, hey, wouldn't it go great right here? Because now I got this, because it's too tall. You can't really see. It's a really cool, maybe I could kind of tilt.
I think you should take out all that stupid Viking stuff.
Let's pump the brakes. We had one bad week against an amazing Lions team, but look at this. This one's super cool. We got an autographed Hall of Fame Chris Carter, photo. You even got to admit, Cheesehead, that's a cool photo.
I mean, it's all right.
Okay.
I'd have paid more for the Karate Kid photo.
But that's what I'm saying though. What's your take on like karate or martial arts memorabilia? Do you think it's cheesy? Or would you do that as well, or have you done that? That's the second one.
No, I would do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's what we do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's cool. No, I mean, especially, I think it's hard to even, it's cool that there even was something like that for you to bid on, right? Because sometimes it's not, right? I mean,
here's the other thing. There was another thing that I kind of was like, this is actually probably cooler. It was like a picture of like Al Capone and like a bunch of guys too.
Okay, that's cool too.
That one, and
right.
like, oh no, stop.
I just want you to know that my instructor, Master Simmons, signed this picture, and I have it framed. So, how much would you pay for that?
Right.
Oh, I'd probably pay a good $200 for that too. 100%.
You guys all know what this is, right?
Yeah, from the Foot Fist Way.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
But you know what? And this was another question I was going to go to. That movie basically was like the plot for Master Ken.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Don't you think that didn't that kind of set the scene for Master Ken?
I think so.
What would you pay for that? I think I'd for Master Ken, at 300 easy.
Just to show up? I'm just kidding. Just to hang out for a day?
Well, that's cool. Has anybody met him? Have you guys ever met him?
Just at events.
Yeah.
But you have though.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, we're not friends. You wouldn't know my name or anything like that.
Because from what I've seen, like he doesn't break character.
No.
That's so cool. Jeff, maybe we're barking up the wrong tree. Like I want Chuck Norris on the show. All right. I will go to his house. I'll do it on his porch. All right. But maybe we just need Master Ken.
Maybe we need Master Ken, yeah.
Master
would be
Ken
cool.
First Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
Come on, it's Maridote. Best of all.
Hey.
Worth to none.
Oh, awesome.
Look at David got so excited he had to leave. He'll come back. I'm confident. See, look at that.
There we go.
No, you're good.
All right, so it's not cheesy. You think I should put it up?
Oh,
Okay, I'm gonna put it up. So next week it'll be up.
So one of the things though that
It's
just
much
you
better
just
than
said,
Viking stuff.
go ahead.
Are you a
I just said it's much
Are you a
better than
Redskins guy or a Commanders? Are you, what's your team, David?
I just FYI, my daughter plays
say it.
in the Commanders marching band. So yes, I'm a
Oh
Commanders
wow.
fan.
All right. Well, there you go.
She plays in the Commanders marching band. That is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's-
really cool.
that's really cool. So yeah, obviously.
All right, I'm
Oh,
down.
man. All right. So thank you
It's even
to
cooler when she gives me the extra tickets. She gets.
well, yeah.
She even gets them. That's dope.
Oh man. All right. So we are going into our show now. This is Kings of the Demo, and we have two of the originators of the division. And we're going to talk about how this became a thing in NASCA, and also just some of the different ones that we saw and people you guys competed, going into it. I think there's so many great competitors who either started in a demo and that helped them get their foot in the door, get that stage time, and then there's also ones who continue like let's say like Mike right here, who continues to have a team each and every year that's successful. So if you guys got questions, make sure you guys put them in the comments. My mom says she misses you, Dave.
I miss your mom. I love your mom.
She's awesome.
You see her, give her a big hug for me.
I will.
You know what's funny is if you didn't already know, like that statement could be taken a totally different way.
Wow. Thanks, Alex. Thanks. Oh man. All right. So
And that's why I'm here.
I know that is. So Dave, let's start with you. And you were kind of explaining this before the show happened, as I had to cut you off and be like, listen, let's save this for now, right? So, at the time you were competing with Charlie Karate, right? And this was what, mid 90s, I would say.
Yeah, like 95. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, 98 is when we started doing team forms like NASCA.
Right.
I think I did it the year before with Matt.
Yeah, in 97.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you were competing individually
Yes.
prior
Yeah.
to debuting the
For a
team.
while, yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. So yeah, explain just how that started with the team forms, because really that was new still in NASCA, right? Like I think the first time I saw really a division that was consistent was either at Capital Classics and then also at the Diamonds. Those are really the only two that were doing team forms for a long time until about 97 maybe.
Yeah, like 97. Matt and I did it like once or twice because there was only, like you said, there's only like a couple of tournaments that did it. Diamonds was one of them. And then 98, Charlie's tournament was the first tournament of the year that had team forms. And so because it was our tournament, I got like my whole school, like the whole black belt class, we all like paired up into teams.
That's so
and
cool.
Every single black belt competed in team forms one way or the other.
Right.
And Gemma and I just happened to be together. And so that was the first one.
Okay.
And then it was kind of like team forms the rest of the year. Like the other tournaments had it. And Paul Mitchell was sponsoring it here and there, which was nice.
Right.
Let's see.
Because other than that, at the time, it was just a division.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think, and then like, how did it work? Like, I think when we went to Atlanta, we back up. We went to US Open and they had team forms or teams. I don't know if they called it team forms or team sync. And then they had team demos. They had two different things. And so Jim and I actually signed up for both of them, but we won the first one and then just bowed out the second one, didn't bother. And then we competed that night in team forms or team forms or team sync, whichever one it was called at the time.
Right. And I think, Dave, too, one of the things that, because I remember this being a big deal years later, was the event, especially at US Open for the ISKA. One of the main rules was, which people forgot, it had to be an adult and a kid or two adults, because they weren't going to give the money to just two kids. I remember that for a long time. That's what it was, until years later when I think it was like maybe it was Tyler and McKenzie that were the first ones that actually were two juniors.
Right.
And they just thought, well, no other tournament has, that's just been the rule. They've let us do it. But apparently the ISK, they weren't supposed to. So I think now it's changed, right? But that was a big deal in the beginning, was because Paul Mitchell always sponsored it every year for that.
Yeah.
But
US Open did it, and then Atlanta did the same thing. They had team forms and team demo. So like in Atlanta, I competed with Gemma for the team forms, and then I took like 19 kids or whatever, and we competed in team demo.
All right.
What year was that?
98.
I didn't know they had that split that early. NASCA didn't definitely have that split yet, right?
Yeah, it wasn't. I don't think it wasn't even a NASCA event that year.
Yeah.
I don't think it was just. Like one tournament had it, so then the rest of them were like, "Oh, this is cool," and they kept adding the event. I think that year it didn't like really hit the divisions. I think till the next year, till '99. I think
You might be right on. I think you might be right on that, Dave.
Yeah,
Because I'm with Mike. I didn't think that was a thing then either. That I think it was just at the time for most events, it was just team form.
Team forms,
Yeah.
yeah.
Everything. And really, and I'll let you guys tell the story. You guys are kind of at fault. Both you guys.
Yeah.
For the way you guys decided to do your team form. Ended up to be where people were like, well, what is this though? Is this a team form or is this a demonstration? Light bulb.
So it was Diamonds 98 or 99 or something,
I
sometime
remember.
early on. We had Team Extreme and there was four of us.
I
me,
remember
Jeff
every
Woods
move of
was
that
a
form, man.
fighter. He's been on stage at Diamonds, Jason Hewitt and John Ania. And we were doing team forms and we were working our butts off with it. First of all, Diamonds always had a killer Friday night team show. And so they would take the top two world teams and then they would let like a national team sneak on. And so we took advantage of that, being from Wisconsin a few times. But Dave, I remember seeing you and Gemma for the first time, 98, nunchucks, and it was incredible. So it must have been 99 or 2000 that we went against you. And I think at Diamond Nationals, of course, we thought we should have won and bang, bang, bang. And our coach and we're from Karate America, and they knew the Warleys pretty well. And from what I understand is that it just we brought some controversy because you guys did your two-person thing, but you also had some stunts and some really cool things with it. But we did like a four-person thing, and we felt like we didn't get enough credit for having 4 versus 2, and the way our music was synchronized and things. And it was shortly after that, very shortly, if not immediately, that's when NASCA had the split.
Yeah.
Sync and demo. And it would make sense if US Open in Atlanta were already doing it. And then we just brought in like the choreography and the teams, like to say, okay, we've got these two things going on. Now's the time. Let's make it big. Let's make it bigger.
Oh, yeah.
And what I think is cool, this is probably another question, like major influence, but from Charlie Lee, you guys had your two-person sync to what I think was a 3-person, to like the legacy of the demo that you guys brought.
Right.
Yeah. Well, we went, it was two in 98. And then the next year, like I said, we went to that Arnold Schwarzenegger tournament.
Right.
And their rules were 5 people, period. So that's when I added the extra kids. and we stuck with that the rest of till I
season.
retired. So.
And that was really cool. And that was, that's a team form, but really it was the birth of the demo, as well as like what you guys were saying. And I remember that too. And it's funny if people look back at the team forms back, like in the beginning, like 95, 96, 97, some of the first ones, like even Mike and John, right? There's some sync, and then there's highlight what you do and you do. And that's the way it was, right?
Yeah.
Mike's form was amazing that year. I got sitting shaking in my pants waiting to hear who won.
When they did, it was 96 or 97. Those two did a team form to like Xena or something like that. Nania and I tried getting on with our Men in Black routine.
Right.
I don't know if it's on the internet anywhere, but we were badass. We walked in our black uniforms. We had shades on, threw them into the crowd. All the chicks went crazy because they were all from Wisconsin and Minnesota. We made our way through there. But then Mike and John are just so
they're perfect. They're just flawless.
See,
Mike, you brought up something though. You brought up like you said, like, being from Karate America, being from Wisconsin, a lot of people cheering. I think people actually thought Karate America was from St. Paul, Minnesota, from the weight, because you guys brought like half of the state of Wisconsin with you guys. For that time, you guys just made it your event.
And we did a lot of NCKA. We did a lot of NCKA.
Yeah.
That's when we first met, was back then.
Oh, 100%.
And we were coming up all the time with our team forums and our competitors and schools. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think you guys, you're going to correct me if I get this wrong or confirm that you guys had started this team form, because that's when I had really seen you guys for the first time. And I'm like, where did these guys just come from? Right. Doing that team form. And you guys said there was like a state of Wisconsin. There was like a league at the time, I believe, and that you guys were doing that. And you were like, oh, well, I heard about these tournaments. Let's just go do that. Am I getting this right?
Yeah, there was a state league, but by the time we started doing NCKA, the state league was the WPKA. It was kind of fizzling out. The politics got to it. It didn't.
And that's why you jumped to kind of dip your toe in other waters?
Yeah. There was just, more or less.
Right.
We were already coming up a little bit too because of lacrosse and Eau Claire. There was relationships built between the Wisconsin and the.
Right. So, all right. So, you're talking about some of the ones in your area, right? And so did team forums or team demo become a thing in your area? I know, as you're thinking about that, Mike, Dave, it got really popular for a long time in the Northern Virginia, DC, Maryland area. Like team demo became a thing where everyone was at. And I remember going to John Chung's tournament, even as recently as like 2011, 12. And literally the main event of his whole event was demo. And they would have 15 there for demo and then take the top 4. And then they go and do it all again for the night show. And
that's just the culture. Like
that was just the culture there for a while, I even saw one of the guys that, probably started around your area or your time, Tim Thompson, who had Dragon Force, right? And they used to, they had their whole team, and you saw them at my tournament. They would come to my tournament sometimes. And he was at my instructor had a Hall of Fame thing this weekend. So I saw him there. And, there's so many different teams from that area that just came up. Can you think of any of the other ones that you guys compete against, Dave?
Well, I remember the first year, every tournament came down to Gemma and I and John Sue and Alsa Fransky.
Yeah. Right. Definitely. That's definitely the case on that one.
Yeah. Oh, well, you know what? Wait a minute. That was the second year. Well,
okay.
I remember we were going to go up on stage at our tournament, and John and Al went up before us, and there was like 5 judges, and like 2 of them, they got like 2 10s and 9 whatever. And one of the kids, like one of the new kids, right? One that had only done the Schwarzenegger tournament. He's like, oh man, I don't know what I go, dude. They only got 2. We just got to get 3. And he's like, oh, okay. And that's what ended up happening. But it was like, but it was John. It was John and Al at that tournament. I mean, they were great, and I
Team Jungle Care.
Yeah.
Now, were you ever on that team, David?
No. Me?
I don't know why. Yeah.
No.
I didn't think you were, but then the more you started talking, I'm like, well, maybe you were part, but no. But didn't Jungle Care, didn't they have a demo team of some kind? I think they had like a big demo team, like one of their first, or maybe it was just like a performance.
I think they just did a performance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm remembering.
Jeff, I think I remember coming out to your tournament and some of the NBLs in that region. There was a ton of demo. And the way that the demo was done is a lot different than the ATA's got a ton of team demo, and they're huge. Done very, very differently.
Very differently.
What Team Charlie Lee did early on and Team Extreme did is kind of took it from the team sync and made it into a really big team sync, and not demo like a school demo. We're gonna have some fencing, we're gonna break boards, and we're gonna have a comedy skit, and then we just kept it. Yeah. So like the culture of team demo is pretty interesting.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking about, because it's you watch the demo somewhere, like there's the guys in Pennsylvania. I can't think of the names right now, but they were at my tournament one year, and they were always there, and they would come in with like you said, like did a Men in Black one time, and they would do like a skit, but with all this sync stuff and everything going on, right? And then of course,
if you're looking for stuff like that, then really what like the Taekwondo guys do, that's the best. Right. But we can't do that. Not that we can't physically do that, but we can't bring 316 boards into a ring. And I'm gonna be honest, for the love of me, they just leave them there. They just do the rest of their form on top of wood chips. Because I don't understand why nobody even thinks about that. Like we don't even give a dang.
We broke boards in Atlanta that year. I said, Gemma and I did team forms or whatever it was, and then team demo. We were all doing it, and like I had 2 of the kids ran cross corners and they broke a board, and then I was in the middle. I did a backflip flash kick, right, and I hit the board, and I came this close to knocking Evander Holyfield out because it went flying right by his head.
I was hoping you would share that one.
Whoa. Lean into that story a little bit more, because I missed this one.
He just happened to be sitting at the stage, in the back, right? And I kicked the board and it went flying, and
because
zipping right by him.
Almost took out the champ.
Yeah, well, because he's got no concept for what's happening. He's just like, all right, it's a martial arts tournament, right? Why would he think something like that would happen? Oh my gosh. Because the rest of us would be like, all right, I see this could possibly happen. Let me lean this way. And you know what? No words have to be said. Meanwhile, the champ's just right up front.
I think afterwards he gave us a pair of boxing gloves. He signed them. We auctioned them off for we had a silent auction for the team or whatever when we got back.
Now see that, David, right there.
But he was.
We're talking about.
Cool, but I was a little nervous walking off stage beside him. I'll tell you.
We're talking about memorabilia to put up. That would have been something.
So, Mike, as you again, you went away for a while, started your business, started your school, and then you came back and said, all right, well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to have that team demo. How did that, what inspired you to do that? Tell us about creating, that program and that group.
Yeah. I love that question. So team forums I've been doing forever. I loved the team forums. And as an individual competitor, getting on stage was the coolest thing that you could do. Everybody wants to perform on stage, and it's not an easy thing. And so I always thought that I could be probably as good or a better coach than I was a competitor. And I wanted to do some tournaments and take my students to tournaments. And I thought that the best way to get them on a stage is as a team and not as individuals. So we started doing demo in like 2008 or 9 again, and then only like 2 or 3 tournaments a year. And then as time went on, we started placing 4th, 3rd, pushing for 1st and 2nd until some of our athletes just became better because they were getting more tournaments, getting into that league, into that surrounded by the best of the best. We had some pretty controversial like losses that we thought, like, wow, we had that one. And sometimes the crowd has your back. And of course, all your friends and allies are like, yeah, you should have won that one. And those were all second places until we got dominant and then stayed at the top. And right now we're kind of at like, competition it's tough, and maintaining the team and staying on top, we're probably through one of our hardest. Like, we always hit these even flows with the team, with personnel and competition and whatever. I just feel like we've lost some, and there's a lot of factors that go into it, but we're facing like a pretty tough rebuild against some pretty tough competition currently. But yeah, I got into it for my students,
Awesome.
I'm gonna ask a question, and I'm gonna ask a question / bring something up to everybody. That because some people truly get annoyed by team demo, and they're like, "It's not. I don't ever do this. I don't want to have to do this. I'll go watch something else," and they get annoyed. But I want to ask you this: what do you think? Regardless of how it's placed, because Mike, you brought up a fantastic point about how to get them ready to really be champions. All right, there's no better way than just having stage presence, right? And when you're used to being there, and that doesn't affect you, you're never nervous. Like, what else is going to make you nervous then, right? So that's a fantastic point. But how about this? Your student retention. Right? David, you brought up. You just had your whole freaking black belt class was in the demo team, right?
Pretty much.
This is great student retention right there. But maybe I'm wrong. It's not my team. You guys speak on that.
Yeah, you know what? I think, like what Mike said, when I went to the tournaments, the kids wanted to go to the tournaments. When I stopped, I got married, started having kids, and it kind of dropped off. For me, that's when things.
You're right. That's the way it goes.
Yep.
Yeah. I think you got to be there with them if you want to. But, it's hard because they're kids and they hit an age and they start getting boyfriend, girlfriend, and then college comes up, and then, they just get pulled in every direction, and it's hard at that point.
Mike, you've lost tons of guys to college, haven't you?
College is the worst. Yeah. Talented team members and talented instructors, a lot of both. But to your point, it is good for retention. We have a program for our school that's built around competition. There's numbers in the industry that show students who compete stay longer. I don't remember what the exact number is, but maybe it's 33% longer, something like that. But it's longer. It's good retention.
It's significant.
And then for us, we've kept the older kids for longer because that competition culture is cool, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And then there's a social side of it that's also cool. So they're not so quick to go to soccer because all their friends are doing soccer. Now there's cool kids in karate too. So 100%.
Yeah.
I think having that team is good for your school too, because like when I was at Charlie's and we were like doing demo all the time and everybody was going to the tournament and the kids were doing well and they'd come back, all the kids that didn't go to tournaments, all those white belt, green belt, whatever, they all looked up to those guys, and it pulled them up, and I think it made them better martial artists too, because they saw these guys trying at a higher level, And it wasn't just, okay, it was put something into it. And it helped the whole business, I think.
He's Obeda's fanning out. He's like, no way, that's Dave Moss.
He's had himself some demo teams as well.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about team intensity.
Yeah. Intensity was big, man. Yeah.
Hell yeah, when they came out and they did just nunchuck demos, and everybody was good.
Yeah.
Team intensity for a long time. Well, they did Team Sync too. Who was it?
Right.
Ramon and we took second in Team Charlie Lee every year. Yep.
I had a conversation with Obeda about that, and I feel like I'm a pretty damn good martial artist. Like I could be pretty damn good at just about everything. I can't do nunchucks.
We know you think that.
100% I think that. No, I don't care. But I can't do nunchucks. No way. I can't do nunchucks at all. Well, I've said this on the show.
You just need somebody to teach you. That's all.
That's right.
Okay, no, Obeda tried to teach me. And
who tried to teach you?
Obeda. All right.
Yeah.
We were rooming at a tournament together. And I'm like, let me try these things. No.
You don't just learn it overnight. You got
But that's the problem, David. Once you're dang good, like I'm not gonna say like I'm shit, but like once you reach this level, like we're pretty dang good at what we do, right? To be really dang good at what you do and be clueless at something that should be pretty much, side by side, that's really hard to do.
Right.
Anyway, I could never make your team. I could never crack the squad.
But yeah, Mike, when he brought out, that was 2014, 2017 when he brought his All Chucks crew, which was really cool.
Yeah,
that was one of my favorite ones, and they would always locally compete against the Canizado's team, right? And that was intense too. And at that time, Haley's on that team, all of them, so demo team down there.
Kick team.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about. Some of the teams that were big in those kind of gap years. Those one, of course we had Charlie Lee. Then Kick Team became that team as well. Young Juan's school, and they were super, into that. Of course, I don't think anyone would really happen without West Coast Demo Team. Those guys.
Oh, they were the originator.
Push the way for that, and it was cool when they would come out and do the division every now and then, right? It didn't happen that often, but sometimes. I think one year they showed up and did team demo at Capital Classics. I think it was like 2014 to 15 or something. And that was fun.
Dial it back even prior to that. If you remember, Jeff, when we had John Worley on, he talked about how back in 1980, how when Ernie Reyes Sr. brought the West Coast demo team to the Diamond Nationals at that point, he was like, it completely changed the way that they held their tournament and the way a lot of tournaments looked at martial arts performances. And that was in 1980.
Wow.
And it was not the exact same West Coast demo team, but it was Ernie Reyes' West Coast demo team. So it still was.
Oh, that's a good question. Here's the deal. This is what Richard said. He says, what you guys did on the open circuit, the ATA took and ran with it. And now it's huge at all their events, right? And it becomes, a big thing. Someone who is still competing now and, Tim Conkle was brought on to create, one of the biggest, I think it was Church's team, which won like 5, 6, 7 years in a row of their nationals and their worlds. And he was someone who organized that team demo as well. And ATA's taken it and ran with it. You have Tiger Rock that's done that. You got so many of these other, things that outside of NASCA that we don't see, right? So who's another? All right, let's do this. It started out, I feel like, with school teams, that did it. And then it became sponsored teams that kind of like, okay, we have enough competitors to make a demo, right? Talk about that element and what you guys, as far as competing against teams that way, thought of that, right? Because you talked about before too, of like how hard it is, right? Like how can they create a demo when they're not at the same school, right?
That's still bonkers to me.
I think sometimes when you handpick some really high-end athletes, you've got a lot of talent on one team, and when you're coming from your own school team, you might have a few that are high talent, and then you'll have some that are in the middle of the road, and so that changes how you can choreograph things. When you got guys that can come out and do really big flips, well, of course, you three guys go out there and do these huge big flips and tricks, and you two guys go do this amazing weapon thing. That's what we picked you up for. But then when you don't always have that caliber, you have to get a little bit more creative with how you move them around, the choreography. Right. Not to take anything away from choreography in other spots, but you're going to highlight some really high level stuff when you have all high level guys. So what I always took Charlie Lee, and I go, David, I don't know how much you had your hands on it when like Ryan Pinkston was kind of the head captain or coach during that.
Or was it Aaron?
Sorry, Aaron Pinkston.
Yeah. So Aaron took over like coaching the team, I guess, when my wife had triplets and I stopped competing.
I will spit my coffee out there. Wow. I just slipped that in there. It's not just like, all right, I took a couple month break. No, triplets? What?
He had his own team sync form team right there.
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
no, Aaron took over in, I guess, 2002. Well, he started with us in like 2001, I think. And then
he was on the team.
I didn't go to tournaments. He went.
So, but the elements in those forms, there wasn't a lot of like high tricking elements. You brought in some stunts and you brought in some different like transitions from one thing to the next. So those were things that I studied. And sometimes when you have the kids from outside or the teams that are made up from outside, it's harder to make those transitions work. Right. But you can get everybody together and throw a hard hand combo and you can get some creative stuff going out maybe. But to me, those are the two give and takes between a school and then teams that pick up. You know what I mean? Because
I don't think you could take a team. I don't think you could take two people and do what Gemma and Ashlina did.
Well, David, that's because what you did, you utilized the people you had, and you did a fantastic job of just highlighting their strengths and said, okay, these are your strengths. Let's build the form around that.
Right.
Versus, okay, guys, I've got this great plan for a team demo, right? You highlighted everyone's strengths. And that's what a great leader and coach does.
You know what's funny? That kicking thing that Ashlina and Gemma did together, I almost didn't put it in. Because here's the thing. So Ashlina's a great kicker. But when she first started into the team, she's really flexible, but she wasn't as strong as Gemma was, right?
Oh, so it looked off.
So when the two of them, they're like, okay, we want to do the multiple kick together. And I said, no, I don't want you guys to do it unless, Ashlina, you can kick as strong as Gemma does. I said, I don't want to pull her down by you guys. I don't want her to slow down. So we'll do something else or whatever. But I wasn't going to do it unless they could do it strong. And to Ashlina's credit, she busted her, and she kicked. Those two kicked at least 1,500 kicks a practice, just doing that multiple kick.
Right.
I mean, it's like, I don't know, like 20 or 30 kicks each time they did it.
My hip hurt.
They would do it like 10 times and then show me, and I go, no, go back and try again. And they go do it again, and they just.
So you'd have a whole practice separate of those two, and they just had to do their thing.
No, they did other stuff too, but we worked on the element, whatever element they had to do. They had to do it so many times in a row correctly.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they started over.
Wow.
So sometimes practice will go fast, and sometimes it would. not go so fast. But
So what was one of the first teams that you guys saw that wasn't like a school team? Like I'm trying to think of some of the ones like was it team?
John and Mike probably.
Well, that was team forms, but I mean, as far as like a whole demo, like I'm thinking like 100% was big in later on, Mike, right?
Yeah, but I'm not sure how many of them were all from kind of like the same area.
Yeah,
too,
that
like
too.
Northeast.
And Pro
Did
Rank, that was the one. Yeah,
Demo?
Yeah.
they did demo.
Like, look at all the names that Obeta's dropping right now.
Yeah.
But like all those names, like just to what you said, Mike, they're all in that same area.
Yeah.
So, wow, that's impressive. They're not all from the same school, but they probably likely practice.
I don't know. He might be
right,
saying
right,
they are.
Obeta?
They all might be under.
Yeah,
Well, I know. Like,
correct me if I'm wrong, Obeta.
When I was competing, Joe Greenhall had kids on his
Now
team.
that's
and
I
they
forgot. You're right, David.
weren't cool, so they.
yeah.
That's.
I know,
Sure there were others. Most of the teams that when I was competing were like school teams.
I mean, and even
But-
kick
but
team
Joe
they had some
Greenwald
outside
didn't.
people as well.
It's just so hard not to be
Full
a
rank,
school
and then
team.
one time, yeah, they were from the same school.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
One time we were on Jay Phillips and we tried doing a demo.
Oh,
Didn't
that's
go
right.
very well.
Wow.
We were from all over the place.
Forgot about James
I was
Moss.
loaded with talent, but we did not come together when
Yeah.
That whole team
we had
was
one
loaded
week
with
to work
talent.
on it.
We tried to do that with CJB, and yeah, same thing. It didn't work. The best I told this story so many times, but it was the idea that, and I love Leroy Stankston, but he was a fighter, right? And
Now you get to repeat a story instead of me.
yeah, I get to repeat a story. So we were on a cruise with Team CJB,
Oh,
and so they're like, hey, they have a talent show. Let's do the talent show for fun. Okay, we'll do a talent show. So we had, all of our fighters doing pump kicks and, and then me doing some things. Leroyce wanted to do some flips and things. You had Corinne Belanger, you had Jason Borelli, John Sue at the time was on our team. So we were having fun, right? But from that, because Leroyce did a good job, hey, well, Leroy should do a team form with you. And I'm like, dude, no, like, okay, whatever, we'll try it. And he sent him to me to train for a week. And we had this form and we're ready. And we're going, and this was 2001 Capital Classics. And we have a lot of great competitors. We're going against Ryan and Anthony Atkins. We're going, Casey and Wayne at the time, like just so many great
on a cruise.
right?
This is on a cruise?
Well, no, we were on a cruise in the summer, right?
Oh,
And
you just took it from there. Too.
Yeah,
Got it.
because Leroyce did great on that demo, right? That was like 20 seconds, right? The idea was that Coach Conroy and Spencer were like, oh, you guys should do a team form now. And so this is why I always say I hate team forms, because I've always been put in situations like this, right? So we do this, we come up with it, and we go there and we start the form, and I'm going, and I look over, and Leroyce the whole time was just watching me doing the form. He like completely forgot, he froze, and he's just staring at me going, oh yeah, oh yeah. And everyone is just dying laughing. And it was pretty bad. So this is where it's like, all right, yeah, no team forms for me. Right? But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of some other one. Recently we have, right now, Competitive Edge has shown how to do an amazing team form with a group of people from all over, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know how they do it. And then you have, Mike, you guys still have a great team that is out there. And again, you guys aren't all from the same school, but the same area, right? So you can have team practices on certain weekends and stuff, right?
Yeah, everybody comes to this school to train for like the sport karate and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. And then you have freestyle that has their choreography and the way they do it. They are a homegrown team, right? Who are some other ones that maybe we're forgetting about? Oh, well, another one, Leclerc's, right? Leclerc's is another one that has been very successful.
Point.
And going
Are they
back,
all cool as well, though?
well, they have a big franchise, but they all meet together. They're not all the same actual school, but they all meet together at the similar to like Infinity.
Right.
That team, they bring everybody for every division.
Yes.
Yeah.
And here's one of the
They're
things.
the only
Robert's
all
got a
girls
good
team demo.
Yeah, they are. They're the only all girls team
Girls
demo.
team
So
demo.
that's really cool. The other thing that people, this is one of the reasons why, Revolution wants to do demo, and what they see is because look at Leclerc's. Now all their girls are winning. They're on stage now. Started from them getting that experience on demo, right? Same thing with Competitive Edge. Same thing with you guys. Same thing. You see the growth, right? You see that, and so it's a great way and a path towards that, right?
Well,
and
here's
same
how.
thing with
Here's an
Elite, right?
example. Here's an
Let me-
example
Go ahead.
of why putting them in that position of a team demo can lead to like higher individual success. Mike, how many people, name some of the names of competitors that started just as a team demo competitor that went on to win a grand championship, that just were started as a team demo competitor?
I mean, the most recent would be Will and Noel and Alex Riggs.
Yep.
Connor Chastain had a lot of success. There's a ton. I mean, early on, I had some young competitors that just went from not placing in their individuals to getting seeded, to competing for first, and making their ways into runoffs.
Yep.
Nolan and Trey are consistently in runoffs, but there's some old school guys. I could list their names, but you might not
Yeah.
who they are.
But look at that, and every single one of them,
Cougar.
and every single one of them was just a good black belt competitor.
Yeah, and they worked their asses off, man. They worked,
And that's it. But they had something else to work their asses off at. That the more you're doing this, you're not going to get worse at forms.
Look, I think the success if you get on stage in team or in demo, it can help you or hurt you. If you're on demo and you look good and your team looks good, everybody expects you to look good later. If you're on stage and you're falling and you're dropping weapons and you're out of sync, and then they see you later, they have an expectation about you. There's a built-in bias. I think that we're only human. And so it's just it leans that way. Good judges are going to hopefully judge everybody the best, but there's something to be said about getting on stage and winning, and then you get to go and do some individual competition after that. The way you carry yourself, but also how you're seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true. Yeah, and another group that I always feel like does a great job with that too is Canizato's team. Still to this day, has a great demo. I like that comment there, Mike. Yeah. Beta says if you get Jeff Spiricchio to come out and do sync, he'll do another demo together.
If you get Jeff to come out and do sync, I'll do sync.
Now you guys are pawning Jeff on each. You guys are just pawning Jeff off onto each other.
That's funny.
We'll have to tag team him, but I'm in. Deal.
All right, so guys, let's talk about one question as far as about regrouping after, which some of you mentioned before there, Mike. After like a roster change, or like, okay, well, crap, everyone got sick, or everyone right now has finals this week, so we can't, or has exams and they can't get off college, so we can't, we have to rechange. Oh, Mike, you need to come in and do demo again, right? What is that like for either of you guys?
You know what? I only had to rechange once. It was before we did that big thing in Atlanta with the board thing.
Yeah.
I told the kids, we've only got this much time. We have these practices. If you're going to be on this team, you have to commit to these practices and you cannot miss one. Second practice, somebody missed one. I said, okay, sorry, you're out.
But then when you tell them you're out, David, what do you do then? Because then that's like a spot on do you rework the performance now? That's hard to do too.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Because you can't leave them on.
Right.
Yeah, because then if you leave them on, then somebody else is going to be like, wait a minute.
Exactly.
Now I
If you
can't
leave
go to
them
my
on,
cousin's
then
birthday
everybody's
party.
going to miss practice this, and then
Yup.
nothing's going to look right when you get done. So,
Right.
I mean, it's hard for me when I have to do that, but you got to do what you got to do and make it happen. So, and the kids get a little nervous too when they try to step it up to fix whatever's wrong, or
Yeah. Now, Mike, what about you? I know you've had lots of different situations where this happened, injuries, things like that, right? Even as recent as last tournament, right?
Yeah, I think when you already have the demo created, and then one person is going to be out, it makes it a lot easier to move some things around, especially the better that the team knows it. When you lose more than one, you can still do that, but it definitely weakens your team. So, like for weapons, if you get one person out there spinning a weapon, they might do something sweet, but it's not as cool as if you have 3 people doing weapons, or 4 at the same time.
Yeah.
So once, David, maybe you can agree. Like, I think the hardest thing is when you have to start a demo from scratch. So like recently we had like 5 people leave the team. They aged out and we had to replace that quickly and then continue to move things. And you start from scratch. That's hard. It takes forever.
yeah.
These like Lego pieces that you can use from other places, but they don't always fit the same way. As opposed to like throughout the years when you just have a batch, 2 people leave, but you got somebody ready to take that, then the form just evolves and evolves and evolves. But starting from scratch is tough.
Yeah. Well, when you start from scratch, like, I don't know how you come up with the forms, but for me, it's like, I don't just sit there and go, okay, you do this, this, and this, and this. I go, hey, some input here. Let's go. And, because they know what they can do better than we do. I mean, I knew my kids pretty good because they were, my white belt through black belt. But like in your case, if you have kids coming from another school and, you gotta feel them out. You gotta know.
Yeah, you don't always know who's going to look good together, who moves the same way.
Great
Sometimes
point.
they flip opposite ways, or
Yeah.
Or
Well,
there's just at different heights. Like even if they're flipping, like one's considerably higher than the other, and you're like, this move can't work.
just finding good formations where it looks good. And then it's got to be symmetrical. And if that's off, then you got to switch that around. And then it's like, well, oh my God, but you can't even side kick. And I need a side kick here. You got to go to the back of the line because somebody's going to side kick with her.
yeah.
Like, no, I do it with my left leg best. Like, well, that's not happening.
My experience.
That's hard. You got the left
Oh,
leg
yeah.
kicker and the right leg kicker, and
Yeah. So I feel like for me, I dealt with this when I had my tournament, right? And I wanted to have an opening demo with my school every year. And I'd have to make it different every year. And I had a whole new crop of people every year.
And you had to be the one to do it. Wow.
And eventually I said,
tournament.
I'm not doing this and running my tournament. The first 2 years I created it and then I gave it to, Jacob, who was my highest black belt. And he created a lot of really cool things over the years of us doing it. Right. And we had a lot of interesting things. And even one year we brought in other schools to do stuff and just to kind of make it different. Right. But that is the hardest thing. Just say, okay, what's the plan this year? What's the, but if you have a base, and you're having to do it every month, at least we could be like, all right, we're going to start training, the tournament's in April. We're going to start creating this demo in November, because it's going to be, at that point, it was the opening thing of the live stream. It needed to at least be decent, right? It couldn't just be, so there was a lot of things like that. And I don't know if I could make that happen every tournament. I mean, that's wild, So, but yeah, that was always to me the hardest part.
Yeah, one of the things you guys mentioned it earlier too, somebody did, about when you are the coach and you're training for tournaments and going to tournaments, and when you're in the demo, you inspire the whole school. It's easier to have the next crop coming up and coming ready. And David, just like you, when I get a wife and once we started having young kids, I had to really step out of the competition scene. So I'm trying to have my hands in on demo, but I'm not teaching the classes the same way with the same vision. We got really good instructors and good coaches, but they're not all
Right. Yeah.
funneling them to like the demo, and they don't all go to tournaments, and it's just a little bit different. And so I think that's why like Will Jackson does such a good. He's always got. If you follow him online, there's always somebody brand new that's moving just as strong as everybody else is the team. Also, there's
Yeah.
3 kids that are brand new, and then seamlessly there's new kids in the demo, and you don't even know who was out and who's in. And so he does a really good job of it within the school. He's built that culture and then grows it, you know.
Yeah. What was didn't Adrenaline have a team for a while, right? And that before they started
One maybe
1
2
year, yeah.
tournaments, but 1 year they went to
Yeah,
US Open and did one.
they did just open, I think 2 years in a row. I think they won 1 year. Yeah.
Yeah, they and they had a whole different style.
They
It was
did.
They had a
That's
whole
right.
different style. I know. It was completely different. Yeah.
yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
what was his Kane? Something.
Kane. Yep.
Yeah.
McGuire and Jimmy.
McGuire. That's right.
Yeah, McGuire and Jimmy.
They're good athletes.
Yeah.
But
All right. So what are some-
I have a question for David.
go ahead, Alex. Before
Okay.
we start,
I did have a ton of forms competitor friends when I was competing because I was the fighter. Okay. So I did forms and I was really, I wanted to win them when I was there. And I felt like I was a decent competitor, but Anthony Atkins was, I could say like he was one of my friends. I was always excited to see him, hang out with him, talk to him. It's early in 2001. Okay. And I feel like I can push Anthony. In my head, I'm like, I can beat him. I didn't beat him. Okay. So, but it doesn't change the fact that like, I feel like I could have. All right. And maybe I could have. So we're sitting down and we're talking, and you had just kind of walked through, David. And both Anthony and I were looking in your direction. He goes, man, David Moss is on something. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, have you seen the team demo? And I'm like, well, no, not yet. It hasn't happened yet. And he goes, dude, just wait. What you see isn't even what he's got going on. And I'm like, well, just tell me what you got. He goes, dude, he's on some Cirque du Soleil type stuff right now. I'm telling you, this you can hear him saying it as I'm saying this too. He's like, I'm telling you, he's watching that Cirque du Soleil, and then he's trying to figure out a way to do karate with it. Right. And I'm like, well, that's when I obviously hadn't seen it, and I thought about it, and I'm like, well, anybody who's seen Cirque du Soleil, like, that's a fantastic point. That's a great idea. How do we do that? How do we get 3 little Asian girls spinning life-size, yo-yos in the air? I don't know.
Well, he got that because I told him that because he was at our school training with Ryan.
There you go.
I think that he's absolutely right. I saw Cirque du Soleil a couple of times and just madly in love with Cirque du Soleil. Back in the day, I saw every show they had. I haven't seen one in a long time now, but yeah, those little girls you're talking about with the little
they did this thing and then they just throw it up in the air.
Exactly. Yeah.
Everybody knew what I was talking about, even though I didn't know how to say it.
Yeah. No, but you know what? I think I had that mindset. My thing, when the kids came on stage, right?
Mm-hmm.
One thing I saw a lot of teams doing, a lot of people doing, is like they get up on stage and they're not like in the performance already, right?
Right.
Like, perfect person for this, John Su. When he steps on the stage, he's in
already
the zone.
performed. Yeah.
There's nobody.
That was a great point.
He's not gonna wave to somebody. He's not gonna tell someone, "Hey, get your foot over." He's in the zone, right? So that was kind of something I tried to do. I don't know if I succeeded or not, but I tried to, and I kind of tried to take that concept from like watching the Cirque du Soleil. So obviously, I couldn't do some of the things I saw in Cirque du Soleil, but I mean, if you take, I don't know if it's still online, but in 2001, I think it's 2001, we did like the opening for Charlie's tournament.
Yeah.
And we had like a mini tramp behind the stage, and we were bouncing onto the stage. and like I was pulling. I had some kid laying on the ground. I swung him up on my shoulders, and that was kind of like my version of Cirque du Soleil.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's so cool. So what I want to just ask is just like, let's finish with some memorable team demo moments, right? Could be ones that you guys are in, could be ones that you guys saw. What were some of the biggest ones? And insiders, make some comments below of some of your most memorable team demo moments.
I might cry.
What did you say?
I said I might cry if I tell you.
You might cry? Oh. Mike, go ahead and share maybe a few of yours.
I mean, the first one that comes to mind is I just remember I was out at a bar. I might have been on vacation or something, and I looked up and they had ESPN2 playing, and there was Team Infinity.
Get out of here.
That's
from a team demo. So that was pretty cool. I mean, that was when you could get on ESPN2 at the US Open.
Yeah.
That's why we went. That's exactly why we went. And then to see you slap the guy next to you, hey, that's me. Those are my kids.
Okay, wow. What was the rest of the move that because I can tell you the list of things I would have said and done at that point. But what did you do? Is that it? You just slapped the guy next to you?
Stick and shake all the ladies away once they knew that was me on TV. It was ugly.
I would have stood on a stool and been like, okay, I'm taking it. Who's got orders? I should not have to buy a drink for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
You guys just saw me on.
I'm not sure if we won.
Oh, wow.
I'm just saying we were there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we were on.
I also probably would have got kicked out.
99 US Open. That was because we got all 10s and we're up on stage. You're like you said, it's on ESPN. I can record it. I can show my parents who weren't gonna see it otherwise. But yeah, that was cool. But probably the most memorable one for me is when we lost, because we were like winning every single tournament, right? And it was Rhode Island in 2000, maybe, I think. Anyway, we had then the rule. I don't know what the rule is now, but then anything, if you had weapons in your hand and you dropped one, you're disqualified.
That's true.
So we were going, and I dropped the chuck.
Oh.
Right. And then it's like
because you're in uncharted territory. This had never really happened yet, so nobody really knew what to do about this.
Yeah, I mean, I was okay with the loss. I didn't care about that at all. But before every competition, right, I give the kids a little kiss on their forehead, and I'd say, I don't care whether we win. Do your best. Told you I was gonna cry. So then we get done, and I'm feeling bad, right? Because I've let the team down, right? I'm not upset at anybody. I'm upset at me. And those two little girls come over to me, and they put their arm around me, and they go, "Mr. Moss, it's okay. We still love you." And I started bawling. It was awful. Man. But yeah, that was I remember that one more than any of the rest. My daughter should bring me tissues. Thank you.
You cry every time you tell this story.
I know, I do.
Well, tell her to stick around. So tell her to jump in. Let's get her perspective.
I got to tell. Yeah, come on, you can say hi. My daughter Cindy.
We hear you already, Cindy.
She's the one that does karate a lot. So.
That's awesome.
She was competing with Noel, right? Mike, your student.
Yeah.
Oh, I stood no. No.
What? No, it wasn't that. It wasn't that. It was like Cindy's doing musical weapons at Capitol Classic. Noel is sitting at the back of the ring. And it was funny. Cindy's doing all this stuff, and
It wasn't.
She does the end of her form. She does this throw over her shoulder and dive roll and then catch the chuck, right? And she did it. Noelle jumped up in the air. It's like, that was the coolest thing.
That's awesome. Noelle's like NASCA's biggest cheerleader. She's everybody. She's in everybody's corner. She's got everybody's back.
She is. She's
This
awesome.
is true. This is very true.
Over a person again. I miss it over someone for teams. That was fun. Dad,
Did you ever, Cindy? Did you ever jump over your dad?
He won't let me.
I'm too old now. She'll hurt me.
Hang on, David. Hang on,
Gemma's
David.
caused enough neck problems for me.
I told him, I was like, I'll be here.
Oh, well, that's a good
and
point.
we'll compete together and it'll be funny. But he didn't want to.
David, I think we're lining something up here.
Oh, I know. That's
I'm
awesome.
gonna be able to stand up for more than 10 minutes to do that.
I don't know. I think if you had like a good 6-7 months of training, I think you'd be good. This is a tournament in Wisconsin Dells. I think it would be perfect for you. That would be a great time to debut it as well. It's on Mother's Day weekend. It's at the Kalahari Resort. I don't know if you've heard it before. It's called the Infinity National Championships.
You're not going to want to miss it.
Always an awesome tournament. Hey, so Mike, I know for me, one of the ones, I don't know, man, you guys went through this long period of winning every year, and then it was like, you lost. And then you guys came back, and it was almost like y'all reinvented yourself, And I mean, now there's pieces of that demo still, but that, and I don't even remember the year. I want to say 2015, 2016, when you guys brought out the flips over each other and everything like that. That to me was like the game changer, because you guys went through, you had your structure and you had some losses, and then you just said, all right, we're going to come back with something new. And it really
completely
was
revamped.
Yeah, I thought it was one of my most favorite times of the team demo.
There was a time probably about what you're talking about, and I was like, this is a masterpiece. I don't know how I'm going to make a demo this good again. But I really loved when we used the William Tell overture.
Yeah.
I really like how that one came down too.
Yeah. That one was really good. Yeah.
Yeah. There were some glory days, and there's always memorable moments. Every team has something different to offer. Dave, you've probably seen that, like the kids that you've had come through and go. Every team's got something to offer, but there's certainly some teams that were just like,
yeah.
Oh, the 97 Bulls team, okay, that team was unstoppable type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Now, Mike, how many, since, just piggybacking off of what Jeff just said, you guys were so dominant for so long. Didn't you guys win the U.S. Open 4 years in a row?
We got 4 years in a row, and then we had a fifth one. There was a year off, and then we won a fifth one.
Okay. Nice.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh man.
And then we won diamonds
Yeah. How many did you win?
And this year.
This was the first year. How many years were
we did not deserve to win.
Wow.
But I mean, but to piggyback, but like that, there was I had conversations with people, and we all will do, and we've had this conversation, you're going to go to the Diamond Nationals, or you're going to go to the World Series of Martial Arts, and this is what you're going to see. And when people have done one or two of them before, they'll say to other people oh yeah, Team Infinity, don't they do the opening demo? I'm well, no, they won. No, they just do the opening performance. I see it every year. I know that's what they do. You don't get it.
You don't get it. Yeah.
Oh, bless your heart. If you're in the South, isn't that what they would say? Bless your heart. I don't know how
they
to
do.
say it.
That's what we say.
It was pretty special. It was a good run, but you know what? It's good to be.
But that was the thing.
It's hard to stay on top, and it's good to have somebody else just biting at your heels, because it's the only way we're going to get better. And not just biting at your heels, but also coming out on top. We're not.
If you've been to a tournament 4 times in a row, and you just see this same thing all 4 times. You just think that's the thing that's going to happen, especially if you're a kid, right? Let's say you're 11, 12, 13, 14 years old. You just assume this is what's happening. So they associate this tournament with seeing Team Infinity open it up. That's just what they know, right?
Yeah.
So for them, we're like, who is this? Competitive Edge? Who's this? Right? But that's the thing, is you can't say who is this, because Reed freaking Presley. He's out there with it. Like, that's
that
kind
audience
of
was
unfair. Like, are you retired or not, Reed? What's going on?
That was pretty cool when he came out on Friday. Like,
It was way cool.
yeah, before Saturday night. But I mean, he got his cheers Saturday night. But the first time he showed out, that was pretty cool.
It is. It's a cameo performance. It was like, all right, well, really, Mike, it'd be like if you did it.
Yeah, I think we're gonna. Alex, you want to come on and do demo with me?
There you go. There you go. Look at him. He's thinking about it.
I would be so slow. I would be so slow.
You know, we need somebody to carry the flag.
Oh,
There-
I got you. Yeah, I'm in. I'm in. I'll be your Flavor Flav in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
The hype
I
man,
can
the
do
hype
that
man.
very
Yeah.
well.
I can do that.
All right. So guys, man, this was so much fun. I think we really covered, some ins and outs of the team demo. I think, we could do, of course, another show with other
yeah.
people as well. But man, it was great. I've talked several times about having you on, Dave. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you had fun.
Yeah, thank you. It was a blast.
And thanks for, contributing so much to martial arts, and as well as just to my area as well here. And Mike, this is what, 3rd, 4th time now you've been on. So I appreciate it, man. And keep
call
doing
it a
what you're
comeback.
doing. That's right. So thank you guys so much. And guys, and again, thank you, K-Talk, for sponsoring, and make sure you guys go ahead and get registered for the K-Talk Nationals. And Alex, let's take it home, man.
This has been another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I'm Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. This has been the King of the Demo. Thanks, guys.